Here are 9 useful tips for moving to Vancouver. How come at Uniqlo or any of those other department stores, they don't make clothes for Persian men? We have like thick thighs after we work out and thick butts, right? And it's just everything's big down there. In Singapore, food court means cheap food. In Canada, food court just means variety of food in a wonderful, expensive mall, which isn't cheap. In Vancouver, at least. I don't know about the rest of Canada. This is the shower, by the way. There are rules. And I was like, okay. Can I at least do the 10 minutes twice a day? Because I like to shower before I sleep as well at night for good hygiene. And she's like, no. I was like, say what? She's like, you know, there's people who love to stand in the shower and just enjoy the water. I'm like, yeah, that's me. She's like, oh, you know what? Oh, you don't seem like, just forget it. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. She literally did that many noises. So you would rather I sleep in your bed like full of sweat and grime from a dirty day and screw up your mattress? Oh, please send over $300 for the deposit to view the room. I was like, what do you mean? The room is in such high demand that I gotta send you $300 before viewing the room? I don't even know who you are. Although everything's linked up very well with the wonderful transit system they have, when you add up the timings because of the houses set in a horizontal manner.
So you walk to the bus stop, then you wait for the bus, then you take the bus, then you get off the bus, then you walk to the train station, if it's not directly at the train station, the bus stop, then you wait for the train, then you take the train, then you get off the train, then you walk to your destination, or better yet, wait for another bus.
How are we covering 20 bus stops in 8 minutes? That doesn't happen in some other countries, but it happens here, and that's wonderful. This is a beautiful place, so love exploring myself, but I do that. How many trips are you gonna take on a train bus, or a train bus, or a bus train sort of configuration while traveling after work, which is even worse if you have a job, without a car, in the cold, when it could rain or have cold winds blowing at any time? It's crazy. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Here are 9 useful tips for moving to Vancouver. So I'm in Vancouver right now in a little home in Richmond. Today is August 2nd, 2024, and we came over to Vancouver on a flight on the 4th of July, 2024 as well. So it's just about to touch a month, and I've picked up quite a few things here which I'd like to share with anyone who's also new like me, or you're thinking of moving here. But the context can sometimes be important in case you're also moving from like a first world, very developed city, just like Vancouver. It can be useful to examine the context, but what I want to do right now is jump right in. Now, the first useful tip is an app called Instacart, like Instagram, but a shopping cart, so Instacart. So put those two together. I'm gonna send you guys a discount code which you can use to get $10 off, and I'll also get $10 off my next purchase. But let me tell you what this does, because without this app, I would have left Vancouver. No exaggerations, I would have left it 2 weeks ago. So what Instacart does is it delivers whatever you want to shop from any provision store or a big supermarket straight to your doorstep. A shopper does that, they get your order, just like if they are driving Uber or any delivery apps in Singapore and other parts of the world. They get the order and then they go to the store and get the provisions and then bring them to your door. Now, I'm not sure if it's similar to Singapore, where we have this thing called Grab, and then we have Grab Mart, where you can actually go to a mini sort of warehouse location where they have all the things there as well. Or if they're going to the actual supermarket, I'm not sure. But either way, I've done the delivery thing in Singapore before, and I know it's hard work. So thank God that these people are around doing it here in Canada as well. So Instacart is extremely useful. It ties into tip number 2, which is actually that the distances are long, but we'll get there. So shopping for your own groceries in Canada, of course, it's wonderful, like shopping for your own groceries anywhere else. You get to pick and choose what you like, compare the prices and so on. As a family man, I know that this is awesome. And even if you're single, this is pretty awesome because you got to decide what you want and so on. As compared to maybe being in the army or something where you don't really get to decide what you eat. However, the issue with that is because the distances are long, and if you don't have a car, the issue is that if you're new, you probably don't have a car yet. So you've got to use the public transit system, which I'll talk about later also. There's a good public transit system, but the problem is, and I wish I could show you all these bags lying around here, to set up a new room or a new home or a new living space, you are going to need tons of things. How many trips are you going to take on a bus, train, bus, or a train bus or a bus train sort of configuration while traveling after work, which is even worse if you have a job, without a car in the cold when it could rain or have cold winds blowing at any time. It's crazy. So if you want to take like 10 trips back and forth on the bus every day and that's your thing for exploring, and I totally understand if it is, this is a beautiful, beautiful place. So love exploring myself, but I do that on foot once in a while with the bus and the cabs and the trains too. But you can go do that. Now on this app, it is very, very user-friendly and intuitive. Once my friend told me about it, I just clicked and it just worked like brilliantly. You don't even need an explanation. Just go in there and you'll know what to do. Everything's very user intuitive. The user experience team has done a fantastic job. The only thing you might need to know, which I was a bit curious about at the start, is you cannot shop from multiple stores for the same delivery. So if you choose Walmart, so first you can go in and type, let's say, liquid hand soap, right? They'll give you all the options from the different stores, but once you click like Walmart or Costco or something, or TNT Supermarket, you are inside that store and only shopping from that store, and that's one delivery. If you start selecting different things from different supermarkets, you can go back and forward via simple menus, then that would be different deliveries, each one with their own delivery fee. So the only drawback for this app is obviously there's a bit of a delivery fee, and in Canada the tipping culture is pretty solid. I once went to the massage parlor and I was like, I'm gonna save money, spend $50 on this foot reflexology thing, very nice stuff, Dragon Feet Spa, you can check it out, somewhere in the center. And then the lady's like, you gotta give a tip, and I was like, oh, okay. So there's that. So you gotta tip your riders too, and riders and drivers and delivery people, they can see how much you're tipping for this app before they accept your order. Whether they can see or can't see, that's not the point. The point is just tip them and enjoy life and a good service fee, and they give you good service, and that's the culture here. So that's great. However, just do take note that you shop from one place at a time. Try to get everything you can from that one place, and you're gonna have to put in the tip at the start. Happy shopping. So I'll drop you my code. It's a checkout code or an invite link to the app. You can use either. And then you can get $10 off your first purchase, which will probably be your delivery fee plus the tip, something like that. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet deal. So that's the first tip, first useful tip I wish I already knew for the first few days of turmoil that it caused me going to Walmart, coming back an hour and a half, because Walmart is so big. If you're from another country, you're gonna spend an hour inside the supermarket, not because you can't decide what to buy, but because the distances are that far. Like the entire Walmart, the one in Richmond or the one at the Grandview Highway, they are like the size of a shopping mall in Singapore. So the supermarket is the size of a shopping mall. If you have a few dollars extra, and if you're in something time intensive like I am, like social media, or maybe you're a business owner, you have a day job, or you're a housewife or a house husband, or whatever it is you do, you could save some serious time using this app, right? It's just the concept of outsourcing. The next tip is that the distances are long, so you want to keep this in mind and be prepared when planning out your journeys. So yes, everything's very easily available on Google Maps, obviously, and they tell you the buses and the trains and whatever to take. You can't get lost using Google Maps inside Vancouver unless your internet connection runs out. However, the distances are long. So something like a supermarket, like a mini mart in Singapore is 1 block away. Because in Singapore, I think over here, the houses are laid out horizontally, which makes it very picturesque. And there's a lack of tall buildings in the housing estates, and all you see is sky and trees. I love that. However, another side of that is that the distances are long because it's 4 people every 30 meters or 20 meters, however long their bungalow is. In Singapore, in maybe 60 meters, you have like 50 households, right? Or 100 households. And so under the next block, you could have a mini mart. Under the next block, an ice cream shop. Under the next block, a badminton court, a street soccer court, and that type of stuff. So things are closer. Here, things are further. So keep that in mind. First thing it means is get a car. A cheap secondhand car could cost you $5,000 to $10,000. That's what I've heard from friends. I have not actually checked out the prices myself. But I'm not a fan of getting secondhand things myself in Singapore, especially when it comes to motoring, because in motoring, the issue is you buy something secondhand, you don't know what's waiting under the hood. The engine could blow out in a year, the pipes could be screwed up, the tires are gonna flame out, whatever. I would personally rather buy something new, but I'm probably going to get a second-hand car when I can afford it, or a motorcycle at least. The trains are fantastic. It's really fantastic. So the entirety of Vancouver, the greater Vancouver area, is set out in a grid. And this seems to be a bit of a pattern in North America, I've noticed, which is not really happening in Singapore, which is only the central business district, or other towns, wherever in the world you're from, which is all winding and stuff. The grid system is, you know exactly where you are very easily. You can measure, you can count it, and the train, it runs right through. So there's a train from Richmond, where I'm at, all the way to downtown Vancouver. It's a straight line up, but that's once you get to the train. And trains come pretty often, every 5 minutes. That's great. But the buses, while there are a lot of stops, like almost every street corner seems to have a stop. Like you could be traveling 2 or 3 kilometers and you check Google and it says ride 20 stops, 8 minutes. Like, how are we covering 20 bus stops in 8 minutes? That doesn't happen in some other countries, but it happens here. And that's wonderful, because that means you can pretty much access this transport system from wherever you're at. The downside to the buses is they may not come very often, especially in the off-peak hours, and sometimes they can get delayed. And I have not actually found any bus apps. I should probably look them up. But Google Maps, it just goes in 4 minutes, delayed in 8 minutes, delayed in 20 minutes. It's like, you never know when that bus is gonna come. So you could have an important journey or work journey delayed if that's the case. Metropolis, which is a mall sort of complex, to Brentwood, which is another mall, is only 4 to 5 kilometers on the map on Google Maps if you measure it. But I did a search at about 5:30 p.m. today, so things get a bit slower. Also, I just did a quick search on Google, and the distance from Burnaby, which is a little city, to Richmond, which is another little city, at 5:35 p.m. today, is showing 1 hour 53 minutes. Now that is a little crazy to go that distance, even if it's 5 to 10 kilometers or 15 kilometers. 2 hours by bus and train in peak period. Imagine you have a date, you need to meet someone, you need to go to your girlfriend's house, or you need to hang out with your boss at their place because it's a startup and you guys are figuring something out after work. I mean, it's a shit show. There's no polite way to say that. 2 hours is a long time in a 24-hour day. Although everything's linked up very well with the wonderful transit system they have, when you add up the timings because of the
houses set in a horizontal manner. So you walk to the bus stop, then you wait for the bus, then you take the bus, then you get off the bus, then you walk to the train station. If it's not directly at the train station, the bus stop, then you wait for the train, then you take the train, then you get off the train, then you walk to your destination, or better yet, wait for another bus.
all this stuff adds up. And in the meantime, if it's evening or early morning, you're probably going to be very, very cold. That will make you tired and drop your energy level. So take note of that and keep some water with you. Of course, if you have a lot of time, it's the weekend or you're on an off day, whatever that might mean for you, depending on your job and career, you have all the time in the world to just look around the sky and the wonderful trees while the bus is coming. That's fantastic, because like I said, the nature here is good. But if you don't, you might want to try living as close to a train station as possible, so you can just walk it up to the train station, or just getting a car eventually. And that could help you with the rain and so on as well. Funny story, there was once in the last 3 weeks that this bus was appearing, on the horizon, like about 400 meters away. I'm like, oh, there comes the bus. And it just stayed there for 20 minutes because in front of that, between me and the bus, there was a little jam occurring because of some ambulance or fire engine or something was happening there. And I was just waiting, watching it like, wow, my time is just ticking away. And this was just for a supermarket run to just get a few vegetables. And I was thinking, I'll get the vegetables and cook them versus spending $20 on food. The bus just waited there. Girls who had got off that bus, like a bus stop before from where I was seeing it, they actually walked all the way to our direction because they were going that way. And they called out to me and this other guy at the bus stop, and they're like, hey, by the way, the bus is not going to stop here for at least another 40 minutes. And we were like, oh, okay, gotcha. Because my Uber was already on the way. So I was like, all right. Renting a room is hard or difficult. I didn't know this before I came here. I thought it's going to be super easy. I thought because it's Canada, it's like first world, like the US, it's like rent a room, like, here's my money and give me a room. No, it's not happening like that. So right now there is really a shortage. I wouldn't say a shortage of housing because everybody I know is having a room. I haven't really seen anybody educated or a student or a person who came over via the express entry for their PR or somebody like that lying on the street. I haven't really seen that. So everyone's in their homes and getting houses, but it's a little bit of there's a lot of flux and change going on, and we need to find a room. So the first thing I never knew is that there are Facebook scams running around. So be careful about that one. The first few days, because I'm a very productive human and people, I mean, you can check my LinkedIn and so on. And my friends and everyone have always, coworkers, colleagues have always said, wow, this guy's really efficient, and even industry people. I naively thought that because I'm efficient, people who are coming back to me within a day or two actually have my best interests at heart. So I went to these Facebook groups, Vancouver Housing, Vancouver Rent a Room, blah, blah, all those, groups. And people message back, please message me immediately. I'm like, wow, they're so efficient. You message them, and after a bit of ding dong, they go like, oh, please send over $300 for the deposit to view the room. I was like, what do you mean? The room is in such high demand that I gotta send you $300 before viewing the room? I don't even know who you are. I mean, if I meet you in person and I give you $300, that's still something okay by me. But if I've not even met you, you could be anyone on the internet. Why would I send you 300? And I thought this was normal. I was like, should I send this guy 300 or that guy 500? And I was thinking, they send you like a video tour of the house. They make like wonderful excuses about why they cannot be at the tour, all kinds of stuff. And the first few days I was very excited. And then I spoke to a friend whose actual human beings I had connected, with when coming to Vancouver. And I posted in actually groups started by friends and so on. And ethnic groups and other groups and all kinds of groups, right? Like nationality, based on your race, based on your citizenship. There's all kinds of groups on Facebook. And I met these people and I messaged one of them and he said, no man, that sounds like a scam. And that's when the comfort person inside me, the person who likes the comfort level inside me went, what does he know? He's settled here like 5 years. He has his own home. He doesn't know anything about renting. Then I spoke to a waiter at a restaurant. Then I spoke to another waiter. And then I spoke to other people who were working at 7-Eleven, and they were all like, nah, bro, that's a scam. Like, don't do that. I was like, oh, shit. So I don't even have an actual room yet. Where do I find these rooms? And so for the first 2-3 days, I was like a real estate agent. I legit thought about getting into real estate, the amount of windows I had open, and that was my full-time job, looking for a room. And so finally, I went for viewings, and then I was like, oh, there are viewings. Oh, and they're nice houses too. And now I have a nice room. So, go for the viewings. If it's not a viewing, it's not legit. I went for some funny viewings as well. I'll try to keep this video short, but there was one viewing where this lady, she's opening the door. She's like 60. She's a white lady. She's wearing really revealing clothing. She's like, I'm the owner and me and my son. I'm like, okay, fantastic. And then I see that there's other people renting as well downstairs in the basement and other places. And I was like, that's cool. She's running a legit operation. It was a little dirty, but she was a little old, so I can let that go. But then we're talking. She used to run food catering for Netflix. And I used to be in the media space, like kind of full time. Now I'm more on YouTube and so on. And so we're having a chat and we're talking. And then she's like, this is the shower, by the way. There are rules. And I was like, okay. Because I'm a water sign, I'm a Scorpio, and I love the water, like literally love. That's why my display picture on Facebook, YouTube, and all this is me at the beach in Bintan, which is an island near Singapore. She's like, 10 minutes only. I was like, yo, say what? Like, do you know as a man how long I need to spend in the shower? Especially a man with this kind of haircut, which we have to shave constantly. We got to clean the spectacles if you have spectacles, right? If you exercise a lot as a man, if your sleep cycle's off, your face is going to be oily. You got to wash your face. Tons of things you need to do in the shower, right? And sometimes I used to model and act as well, where you got to take your shirt off. Everything's got to be clean. It's a whole process in the shower every morning or whenever you do it. For me, sometimes multiple times a day. She's like, yeah, I shower in 10 minutes. And I wanted to tell her like, well, you're retired and you don't look like you exercise. So obviously you don't sweat in this cold climate, but I didn't tell her that. But that's just a fact. Like maybe she doesn't sweat and that's fine, but I do. And I'm a full grown male man driven with testosterone and we sweat, right? And we need a shower. Like we have oil production and biology is very different from females. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, can I at least do the 10 minutes twice a day? Because I like to shower before I sleep as well at night for good hygiene. And she's like, no. I was like, say what? She's like, those people who love to stand in the shower and just enjoy the water. I'm like, yeah, that's me. She's like, oh, you know what? Oh, you don't seem like, just forget it. Yeah, nah, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. She literally did that many noises. So you would rather I sleep in your bed like full of sweat and grime from a dirty day and screw up your mattress? She's like, yeah, yeah, I don't think, yeah, that's not gonna be a good fit. No, yeah, no. And we both did this awkward walk to the front door. I was fumbling over my words and I was like, well, okay, I'll have a think about if I can not shower, la la. And if, we're a match, then we can come. We closed the door. That was that. And another room I actually rented first. Some lovely people who live there. We're all friends now, but I realized it was a wrong fit for me. Well, firstly, it was a sort of a house that was ready for demolition in like a few months. So companies do this, they buy over these houses and then re-renovate them, sort of make them livable and so on. It was very nice in terms of decor and in terms of arrangement, but I guess I wasn't really used to living with roommates because I've never done that in my life. It's always been family members, and family members, just like arranged marriages, you're similar in a sense. You're not too different, right? Unless you adopt somebody. So house has always been relatively clean. Kitchen's always been relatively clean. I'm the one who's accused of by my wife of making it dirty, like leaving the dishes there for like 45 minutes after I eat. I was like, what's wrong? It's a sink. Just leave the dishes there. Like, so in Singapore, we don't have a dishwasher in our house. And so we do the dishes manually. And in this room that I rented, so this is my wife's standard of kitchen cleanliness and this is mine. This was the room. So I was the new wife going like, hey, could you clean that up? Could you, I was like, oh, wow, this ain't going to work, man. This is just not going to work for me. Also, I didn't realize I would need a desk and a chair to work. I thought you sit on a bed and everything's comfortable, like they show in Western movies where a teenager comes home and dives onto the bed and starts working on the laptop. It's not that comfortable. For me, anyway. I can't lie down there with my neck like that and I'm gonna get a neck ache after 30 minutes. It's crazy. So, and these beds are so soft and nice for sleeping that you sink in. So you're like, your body posture is completely off. And as a person who exercises and my muscles ache and so on and so forth, that is a nightmare. So I had to finally get a big ass room. My dad says this looks like a hotel. It is what it is. If you're from that part of the world where you're a little spoilt and you live in a comfortable way, you're probably gonna need that comfort. Of course, I've been to the army and so on. I can live in hardship if I need to, but at this stage of my life, I don't really want to. I'm already taking on the exploration of cooking and cleaning and this and that. I don't want to add troublesome roommates or housemates. But when I say troublesome, I mean not a fit. At this stage, then this would be a whole adventure just doing that, just learning how to live. It's not though. It's an adventure to see if we can settle here. And so there's other responsibilities in the day I need to look at. And so I can't just keep piling on this side of shit I need to get through. So it was a bad idea to get that room, but it might be a perfect good fit for somebody who's studying and spends most of their day outside or most of the day at a job. That might actually be a very nice house because the people were very nice and we had nice chats, whatever free moments I got towards the last few days, and it would have been a great hangout and stuff. Over here, it's a bit more lonely, but I'm more efficient and I'm fulfilling my responsibilities towards my family, which is, whatever husband and wife discuss for our careers and so on and so forth and all that stuff. So, decide on the right room and be careful. So I finally got this room through contacts, and then the agent was a contact of a contact of a contact. And so that's how I got this room. If you actually need a pretty good room and your budget's not bad. So this room's about, which is not cheap, but there's bigger rooms next to me, which is 1,008 or something like that. So this one is a private bedroom, private bathroom. The one next door has a private living room and a bedroom and a bathroom. So it's 1,008 or something like that. And this is Richmond, so it's pretty quiet and it's pretty nice. If you're a work from home kind of person like me, this is perfect. Really very nice, peaceful, quiet neighborhood. Another tip is do not jump at the first room you get because you're excited to start your life. Take it easy, spend a few more dollars at the hotels or Airbnbs or whatever, but find a nice room that you can move into. Otherwise the mental health thing is it can go pretty crazy pretty quick. So be really, really careful about what you do to yourself so you don't drive yourself crazy. Okay, the next tip is that it gets cold. If you're from a warm climate from Asia, from the equator, something like that, where there are hot days. Today's a remarkably hot day now that I've decided to film. My guides always mess with me like that. But it can get cold very quickly without warning. It can get chilly, it can rain out of nowhere, and because of the long distances, you don't have a car, you have the rain, you don't have an umbrella, you're in trouble, right? You can basically just sit at a coffee shop and do your work for the next 5 hours. However, the quality of rain here the last few days was light enough for me to put on a hoodie and walk through it and have this experience of light rain, which I never really get in Singapore unless it's literally drizzling. But even the drizzling there, it's like sporadic drops, but heavy drops nonetheless. Here, the rain was just a different quality. It was like a breezy, like little spray of water. You can keep walking through the rain. People are walking through the rain. I saw two cute Chinese boys coming from school the other day, fully drenched, spectacles like me, fully clouded out on the spectacles, and it was hilarious. But all of us doing it together, so we're looking at each other and smiling, and that's what it is. So I'm not from this country permanently, so I don't have any waterproof sweaters or hoodies or coats, and so it was a cotton hoodie, right, which was also getting a little bit wet. But I was relatively dry by the time I got home. If you're like me, you exercise a lot, you have low body fat, definitely get long wear. I didn't know I needed to wear long things even in the house. You do. So get those long sweatpants or joggers, which you can also get from Instacart, by the way. That's tip number one. Wear some socks at home if you don't have wooden floors. If you have tiled floors, I don't, for the life of me, understand why anyone would have tiles in their house, but that's a different video for a different day. But if you have tiled floors, wear socks, because if you live on the ground floor or in the basement, it gets really, really cold in the ground here. And then I believe that comes through your house walls and things like that, especially the ground. So it can get very cold very fast. The issue with that is, even if you're like, I'm a strong man, a strong woman, I will tolerate the cold. It's not good for your nervous system to have that kind of shock on the feet, where there's a lot of blood capillaries and your nerves. Suddenly it's cold, suddenly you're in a hot shower, suddenly it's freezing cold. It's not good for your body. By the way, even if people here say it's summer, which it is, and it can get a little warm like today, it can also get cold. So don't do this like, summer, we're just gonna wear berms. Like I bought like 3 pairs of berms. Can't wear the berms now because it's too cold when you step outside on some days. To be fair, I step out in the evenings, so it's cold. Depending on whether you have a day job or not, you might also step out in the evenings, and that might be very cold. The food is not cheap. So first of all, let's talk about the supermarket and wholesale prices, then let's talk about going out. Now, the supermarket and wholesale prices are relatively similar to Singapore. If you've ever been in Singapore, I've had friends from India come over, from Europe come over, from China come over and go, this place is expensive. And so in Canada, in Vancouver at least, it's the same price in the supermarkets. You're not going to get like a bag of apples for like $1. Those days are over. It's $2, $3, $4, $5, even for these small bags of fruits and vegetables. Some markets, supermarkets, or little stores on Victoria Drive and so on, you can get still that big box of blueberries for like $2. Or maybe Costco. But for the general person who's not really a member of Costco yet, which I hear you need a membership, you're not going to Victoria Drive all the way just to get blueberries, because you're not like retired, you have a day job and stuff. If you just run through town and go, I'm getting blueberries, that could be like $8. So just be careful. So it's not exactly cheap. What I would suggest is cooking at home, buying in bulk, and knowing what you're buying. So this is an age thing and a life experience thing. The more experienced you are, the more you'll know how to cook, how much to ration, and so on and so forth. Now, as for the restaurants, in Singapore, food court means cheap food. In Canada, food court just means variety of food in a wonderful, expensive mall, which isn't cheap. In Vancouver, at least. I don't know about the rest of Canada. But it's $20 a meal. No shit, $20 a meal for one plate. Does it help that sometimes the servings are huge? Not really, because as a balanced human being, you're not going to eat that much in one meal. So you're still paying $20 for whatever you're going to eat, which is your regular meal size. When I say $20, I mean even for basics, like the mixed rice that you get in Singapore or other Asian places, which you get for like $5, $6 a plate in Singapore. Price has gone up recently when you add meat, right? You add like a piece of fish, they're like, $10. I'm like, $10? They're like, the fish is $4. I'm like, okay, cool. So the fish is $4, okay. The rice and the vegetables was like $2.50 or something like that. There's the permutations and combinations of this in different parts of Singapore. But here, it's like, it doesn't matter. You can't go around that food court looking for the cheapest one. They're all the same, 14 to 20. It's set, 14 before tax. You add the tax, everything, $20. So it's $20 for a meal outside, even a Nando's, not necessarily a McDonald's. McDonald's is cheaper. In Singapore, sometimes at McDonald's, your bill could come up to higher than the food court, right? Because the food court in Singapore means cheap food. Here, McDonald's is going to be cheaper than the food court. So the food court just means a variety of, it basically means a food fair, really. So over here, a food court is like a food extravaganza of different food in this big mall sort of level. The food court's the entire level, or really big either way. It's $20. You want to eat twice at a food court daily, a proper meal, which has like rice, vegetables, meat, whatever you're looking at, $40. So just portion out $40 a day for food if you want to eat in the food court. Otherwise, what you can do is prep food from home. Go for it, meal prep, do whatever you need to do. And the restaurants are even more expensive. So I haven't really seen a low cost restaurant. Is there even such a thing? Not really, actually. Even those like, oh, this is an Asian place on Victoria Drive, or this is a Mexican place. I think it's more of a novelty to have those places here, and then the price is still high. It's not like Singapore, like $6. I got a full plate of chicken rice, and the uncle was like, "You want extra chicken? Well, I got double chicken, and it's $7.50." Now, that's not happening here. You're not getting shit for $7.50. So unless you cook it yourself at home, then you might. Your white shoes are gonna get gray. Now, my wife told me it's Vancouver, let's get the white pair, because we were buying a Vivo barefoot pair of shoes. Check out the video I'm linking above for the unboxing and review of a previous pair I had bought. Very good to be in the barefoot lifestyle, especially a place like this where you can walk around a lot. And there's a 15% discount code in the link, so enjoy that 15% discount. We were gonna buy the next pair of Vivo barefoot, and my wife was like, buy the white ones. I'm like, you would never buy white shoes. Who buys white shoes? That's a no-no. Like, you don't do that in Singapore. Nobody wears white shoes unless you're in school. She's like, you don't get it. In Vancouver, everybody's wearing white shoes. It's a Canadian thing, I think. But it goes quite well with the colors here. So I'm really starting to understand. It goes well with the sky, the clouds. A few years ago in Singapore, you would try to put on that look as a look out of a fashion magazine or something. But here it's the norm. It's like, check out my white sneakers. Like, what other color do you think they would be? And that's nice. I like it. I'm wearing them too. But they get a bit gray after a while. That could be, people say there's no dust in Vancouver. That's BS. Now, but on the road, it's not dust, obviously, that's getting onto your shoes. There's a lot of rivers and tributaries everywhere and beaches. I'm not sure if it's sand that's blowing in the wind, or it is construction, or it is some kind of soil. And there's a lot of wind here once in a while. It just blows, and there's a lot of farmland, so it could be something from the topsoil. I have noticed that in a lot of the parks here, we have these wood chips. Whereas in Singapore, another place, you might have like sand or mud or soil. Here it's very like dry, probably because of the cold. I'm not sure what that gray compound is. If you're in science or biology or some kind of nature profession, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So please drop it in the YouTube comments to let all of us know. But your shoes get gray. But the good news is it doesn't really stick. So when I just whack my shoes, the dust just falls right off. So that's great. You're gonna get a bit of gray on your clothes. The other place I got this kind of gray was in India, and maybe in Beijing when I went there. So I'm not sure if that's pollution out here. It doesn't seem polluted. The air seems like crystal clear. So I'm not quite sure what it is, but your white stuff is gonna get gray. So be careful. This one's hilarious, and I have a little something to show you guys. So if you're a medium in Asia, you're gonna be a small in Vancouver. So check this out. I thought I was a medium when it comes to underwear. This is a new pair of underwear just unfolded from this brand called George's. And when I took it out, I was like, hang on, is this like some old... I was under the impression that old people wear loose clothing. Wait, did I buy the wrong thing? I checked the box again. This is their briefs from this brand called George, where you can pick these up. And I was like, definitely need to buy some underwear. And I bought medium because in Singapore, I'm medium because, you work out. When you work out, everyone who works out knows what I'm talking about. If you work out properly, your butt comes out, it's more round, your hamstrings pop out, right? Your quads build, the hip flexors are coming out at the front. You might put on a bit of density on the abs if you look sideways. Lower back muscles are popping out. Suddenly, your underwear size just went from small to medium. If as a man you're well endowed, you might jump up a size or whatever, because otherwise it's just too uncomfortable to walk like completely squashed in. I guess for women it's like the uni boob thing with the sports bra. So my wife, we talk about that stuff once in a while. This is medium. Like, this is the size of my head, just to give you an idea. And I'm 170 centimeters tall. So I'm not sure who's wearing these. It's either somebody who has like a really long package down there, or really just big if you look sideways, like like they're really, really muscular and huge, like 2 meters tall. This looks about right, I don't know. But this is not really my style, because in Singapore it's pretty hot. And so if you look at this on the side, just this trimming over here, that's just too much material. Like in Singapore, you need things that are thin on this side, almost like a thong or something, because it's so sweaty every day. So my underwear is like pretty, like, small cut to give more space for my skin to actually breathe. But over here, I guess it's cold, so this does help. I went and immediately after I realized this was too big yesterday, I bought the small size, and even that seemed a bit big and too much like cloth. But I guess it helps when the wind blows. It could be because of the weather. It could be because the cut of Caucasian men and women is probably different. It supported me, pretty well down there and covered everything nicely. I'm not complaining. It's just a lot more cloth than I'm used to. And in Asia, I do, because my genes are not like Chinese or Japanese or Korean or something like that. I believe the body shape is slightly different. I could be wrong about this. I don't like study human bodies, although I am a personal trainer. But the body shape can be slightly different. And I always wonder in Asia, like when I'm working out like heavily, how come at Uniqlo or any of those other department stores, they don't make clothes for Persian men? We have like thick thighs after we work out and thick butts, right? And it's just, everything's big down there. Even if you're super lean, it's big. So like, I can't walk in the stuff that they make. The slim is too slim, the baggy is too baggy. And so all the fitness friends I talk to, whatever race they may be, Chinese, Japanese, Indian, Malay, Caucasian, white, Spanish, Russian, we have all kinds in Singapore. We all go to the same solution, which is just buy activewear, buy sports clothes. They just seem to fit. And so we're just like doomed to wear sports clothes for our entire lives. I'm hoping Canada has a better cutting for clothes. But the tip was that if you're in Asia or some other places, you're a medium. In Canada, Vancouver, you're a small. 2 hours is a long time in a 24-hour day, especially in a country or a city or a state where you don't have helpers like we do in some parts of Asia. So you got to do all the work yourself. And I'm learning this out currently. I'm enjoying it because for me, this is an exploratory journey. And I'm enjoying that I need to wash the dishes. Now I need to cook the food. Now I need to put the clothes in the dryer. Loving it. But in case you're not at a stage where you could be loving it because you need to get things done fast, just remember that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like on the video. Please subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell icon for notifications as I update you with more useful things and wonderful vlogs from around Canada and Vancouver in my time here. My other home base is Singapore. I think I might be moving around between the two to explore opportunities and see what's what. But I hope that all this sets you guys up, those of you who are new especially, much better and takes away a lot of pain and wasted dollars like I had and gives you a wonderfully good time. Enjoy the other videos popping up around my head right now. I'll throw up a vlog playlist, maybe a food playlist, maybe a travel vlog playlist, maybe some of my released music. Take care and see you guys on the next video.